couple of months, a few months ago, I was feeling anxious and depressed and lonely and sometimes overwhelmed, and I remember my lowest day. I had been sitting in my room. The first thing I did in the morning was turn on my phone and check the notifications and download new games, text anyone that had texted me, and then the rest of the day I just stayed in my bed playing games. I don't know if any of you play Among Us. I played that game and a couple other games. And by the time that 3 p.m. rolled around and it was time for church, I decided that I was going to take an emotional sick day. So I didn't have any physical illness, which was the only reason I'd ever skipped church before was just for any physical illness. But in this case, I decided I wasn't going to go just for emotional reasons. And I think total I left my room like twice that day because I'd been playing games, and so I just left to go to the bathroom and get food, and that was pretty much it. And that was definitely one of the lowest points of my day. I don't know if any of you guys have felt this way before, and if you've traced it back to a specific reason. But for me, I realized it was the amount of time that I was on my phone. I wasn't making any connections with anyone or getting to know anyone. I was just in my room, focused on myself and what I thought would make me happy in the moment. I think this is a problem for a lot of people, and so as they're on technology and they have their phones, sometimes it can create car accidents as they're texting and driving. Other times it keeps us from connecting with other people. Say you're in line for an interview and all these other people are there and they're nervous, and instead you could close off and just look at your phone, or you could try to connect with them and loosen up and see how other people are doing as well. Oftentimes we find we're not connecting with those we love as much as we could because we're too focused on our devices and our life that's on a device instead of our life that's with the person that we love. And so instead of making these connections, I was on my phone, and I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. That in the past I had found that in the living room we'd all be sitting down playing games, and every single one of us would be on our phones in between rounds, and if we weren't on our phones, they're always within arm's reach as if it was part of us. And I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want my phone to control me. I wanted to choose when I was on my phone, and I wanted it just to help me, but not to make things worse in my life. And so I decided I was just going to get rid of my phone completely, throw it out, and just live a non-technology life, which is really hard in this time and after growing up with so much technology. And so I realized that there are things that phones are good for, that they help just like a toolbox. I could take it out of a toolbox, or I could take it out of my toy box where I have my apps and my games and my notifications from Pinterest or whatever it may be. And so I made a list of ways that my phone can help me. Much like my workout plans or Google Maps, my Bible apps, and books on audio, maybe even emergency calls, or weather and updates, warnings, reaching out to people. Here's my specific list. I decided I could use it for a 7-minute workout. I could use it to reach out to people, which I often did way too much. So I set a limit of 1 hour because it's easy just to ignore the life, the hard trials you're going through, just to text someone else and pretend that whatever else is going in your life doesn't matter, and just focus on getting out of that by texting others. So I set a 1 hour limit of reaching out either to help them or sometimes to be helped. I also had an interior design app to help develop talents that I could spend 30 minutes on a day, and Google Maps, Pinterest crafts, phone calls, and my Bible app. I realized as I was doing this, I don't know if you've seen the movie WALL-E, but in WALL-E, the robot comes up to the people, and he accidentally pushes one of them out of a chair, and they're like, what the heck, and they get all mad at him, and then they look around and they see that there's other people in chairs as well, and that there's someone next to them also watching a movie, and he gets curious and he's like, what are they watching? How are they doing? And so instead of being on the screen, I felt like the people in WALL-E that realized there was a world outside of them, that there were other people that mattered too. And I always thought that WALL-E would eventually happen one day, but I didn't realize it's already happening. That we allow our phones to control us, and we actually don't need to have all these notifications on. More often than not, I found that I could just leave it in my room and I'd be fine. Most of the things on my phone could wait. I didn't need to have any notifications, and I often left it on Do Not Disturb. And for business calls or people that need to keep on the ringer for certain reasons, there are notifications that we can still turn off without having to turn off, without leaving the phone on Do Not Disturb. Ways to let it control us less and to choose how it's going to help us instead. If you've seen the movie The Social Dilemma, as I went this week without any technology, I watched this movie. I highly recommend it. And these people in the movie showed that the connection between depression and suicide rates, and also having more social media. And so they showed in 2009, when social media became more and more prevalent in society, that girls ages 15 to 19 became 70% more likely to be suicidal, and girls 10 to 14, ages 10 to 14 would be 151% more likely to be suicidal. And these are huge, really actually sad statistics that the world's becoming a lot more depressed and a lot more suicidal, and that more recently, as those rates have gone up, that social media has also gone up, and there's a high connection with that, and I've noticed that in my life as well. And so as I took time to be by myself more, and I was able to develop my character. So I used to bike to this pond, and I used to read my books or have some peaceful time, and more I was on my phone, the less I felt like doing that. So the last week when I didn't have my phone, I felt like biking to that pond and having my alone time again. I also felt more productive. I'm usually the type to just get homework done as fast as you can so you can get on to whatever's next. And in this case, when I started going without my phone, I spent more and more time caring about the homework that I was doing and making it more effective and productive. Because there are a lot of actually cool opportunities that the teachers give us in school to really learn and grow. I also had the opportunity to be more aware of family and realize that some of the things that make me happiest in life is laughing with those around me or having a good time with them. And I was also more calm and aware of, calm and peaceful. I wasn't so anxious about what was happening on my life in the social media world. And so I challenge each of you to do the same, to go from having your phones on vibrate and having time on your computers to play video games and listening to music all the time or being focused on the TV, to instead make connections with other people, get to know them, to know what their story is and learn from them. Or to read a good book, nonfiction or fiction, but just to learn something new every day, to enjoy the nature, what God has given us, and to find ourselves to be more peaceful and calm. And as we do this, we can become less depressed or unmotivated or lonely, to being more calm, productive, aware, and develop who we are. So the next time you get out your phone, you can think about, am I taking this phone out of my toolbox where it's going to help me be more productive, or am I taking this out of my toy box where I have all my apps? And think about how you want your phone to affect you and how you want to be in charge of it. So think about that next time you get out your phone. Thank you.